Hey guys, I'm Voilen, and I recently, a month ago or so, I made my own keyboard. I made a split keyboard. And let me tell you, if you thought the rabbit hole of custom keyboards, mechanical keyboards, was big, wait until you enter the rabbit hole of split keyboards. So quick summary, in this video I'll be talking about why I went for split keyboard, the rabbit hole of the different designs that are out there. I'll also talk about my decision why I went for the Lily58, and I'll also talk about how to gather the parts, how to get the PCB ready from the GitHub repo of the Lily58, and the building experience, my experience using the keyboard, because on day one that's for later. I'll also be talking about the price, because you might be kind of shocked at how little I paid for the keyboards compared to like the pre-builds that you can have out there. And then I will end with, was this whole experience worth it? Like the work, the effort, the time investment for looking everything up, the building, that's for later. But first, why did I go for a split keyboard? Let me take it. Okay, so there are a couple of reasons why I went for a split keyboard. There are also a couple of reasons why I went for, basically blank keycaps, but that's for later. So I was suffering from wrist pain, and I said was, because I basically have not had any pain anymore for the last 2-3 weeks since I started using those things. But that was a big thing, wrist pain. Another big thing was I wanted to be more ergonomic, because I don't really have a good posture when I was sitting on my desk and doing work, and because recently, the last year or so, that's basically the position that I sit 80% of the day. So yeah, I wanted to be more ergonomic as well. There are no scientific studies about like how beneficial it actually is, but I feel a difference, my shoulders feel a difference. That was another thing, like I've been having a lot less pain in my back. I did not consider that to be one of the benefits. But yeah, the biggest step for me to actually make the decision to go for split keyboard was this keyboard. So the keycaps were already broken, and whilst typing they often flew off, which is kind of annoying. But also just the staggered layout. So in my last video, second last video, I tried to learn how to do blind typing, touch typing. And I found that I would often press the wrong keys because of the whole staggered layout. For programming, especially touch typing, all the symbols are on this side of the keyboard. Deleting text makes your hand go completely off the keyboard. You basically waste some time trying to find the keys again, and I found it too annoying. And I was already kind of looking at new keyboards anyway because of the whole keycap. I was not even trying this time because of the whole keycap problem. So yeah, I went for split keyboards. But the rabbit hole of split keyboards, it's a big one. So basically the rabbit hole of split keyboards, it's a big one. Because there are so many different designs, so many different things to look out for. So you have the flat designs, you have ones with trackballs, you have kind of like 3D shapes. You have the pre-built versions like the Kinesis, which is kind of expensive, but according to a lot of reviews, one of the better ones. You have hand-wired keyboards, you have PCBs that you can print to have an easier time installing things. You have kits that you can buy. There's so much choice. Do you want a number row? Do you not need a number row? Do you want 6 columns? Or do you only want 5? There is a ton. Because it was my first split keyboard, I started thinking about the dactyl manifold. It's kind of like a 3D shape, but after further looking up and such and talking with some people who actually use split keyboards daily, they said getting the shape right for your hands on a dactyl, on that kind of 3D keyboard, it's kind of difficult. And if you don't have a 3D printer at home, it easily becomes kind of expensive to reprint to actually fit your hands properly. So I still want to do that type of keyboard, but I don't have a lot of money. So I tried to go for the cheapest option, which I thought was the Korn. It does not have a number row, but it looked like it could be more than enough, especially because on those split keyboards you use different types of layers. So everybody knows the layers like the shift layer, but you can have layers for symbols and such, and that's what I was focusing on. But I started thinking more and more, I often use the number row, especially because I use I3, switching between windows whilst I'm holding my mouse to drag files around. So I thought if I start working with layers, that may cause issues. So I really wanted a number row, so I started looking more at the Shuffle and the Lily. The Shuffle had like 2 knobs to turn, but I thought maybe that will be better if those were keys, and then I started looking more at the Lily. And after talking to some people who also had been using the Lily, they all really liked it. A lot of people moved away from the Lily after getting too used to the layers and not needing the number row anymore. But I was kind of sold on the idea of having the Lily58. 58 keys, that's what the 58 stands for. So the keycaps and the key switches would cost a little bit more compared to the Korn, because that one has a lot fewer keys. But I was like, okay, no, let's go for that one. And once I settled on my design of the PCB that I wanted, the keyboard that I wanted, it was time to look on how to get the parts for a kind of affordable price, because I did not want to spend too much time. What's this? Ah, it's my Ko-fi page! Thanks to my Ko-fi supporters, I was able to get this keyboard in the first place, so thank you very much. Ko-fi is the way to support me right now, because this channel, it's still not monetized. My bank account, it's running empty, not really, but yeah, more dramatic. But yeah, supporting me on Ko-fi helps me to keep making videos, keep working on Gozen, and try to make my life as a stay-at-home that actually work out, so I can focus on making more free and open source software. Maybe, hopefully, make a game at some point. If you want to support me, go to the link in the description, and thank you in advance, I guess. And already a big thank you to everybody who has been donating and helping me support me in the past couple of months. Well, it's almost a year now that I had my Ko-fi page. Good times. Okay, so one of the other reasons why I went for the Lily was because they have a very nice build guide. And because of this build guide, I was more confident about doing the whole soldering thing and the whole software situation. Because you have to put the software on these things by yourself, which was something new to me, because like I have changed my keyboard in like a program from Corsair, and that's about it. So yeah, this is in Japanese, but they also have an English guide. For me, it does not really matter. So yeah, but they have a build guide in English. A lot of these split keyboards, and that's something you will easily notice, a lot of these split keyboards are designed by Japanese people. That's why a lot of the resources that you'll find are in Japanese. But yeah, basically, if you click on the build guide, you can see what you need. So you need the PCBs, you need the case. Well, the case is optional because these 3 panels are actually all PCBs. To get the files necessary to print these PCBs, mainly what you need to do is you go to their GitHub page, you clone the GitHub repo, then you go into the folder Lily58, go under Pro, PCB, and then you will need a software called KdenLive. This piece of software will allow you to open these files. Like, you may see that there are a couple extra folders here for me compared to what you will get from the normal repo. But what you do is you open the KdenLive Pro. In here you will see a couple of different files. What you will need is the bottom if you press on this. So when you open it, you will see something like this. So in here you go to File, Plot, and in Plot you will need to disable the plot drawing sheets. This is to create a Gerber file, so generate real files. I just press this a couple of times and it does things. I don't 100% know what's going on, but it works. Then I press Plot, and normally it should ask for like a refill. So if we take the main one, Lily58, and to open this one, you can see it looks a little bit different because here is actually like all the PCB stuff going on with all the connections and such. So this is the most important one. We go to plots, generate real files, generate map file, generate real file. I sometimes press this a couple of times, like I don't really know what this does, but again, it works. Plot drawing sheets should be off, and plots. Sometimes like this can happen. Zone fills are out of date. Refill, just press refill and you'll be alright. I was kind of wondering about that and I did not want to waste money by printing them wrongly, but just click refill and that's done. And normally you will have your Gerber files done wherever you decided to save them. So Gerber files for the PCB, the bottom and the top, because the top, if you click on this one, you can see the top is exactly the same, it's just a PCB. So you need the Pro Micro, which are these tiny USB devices that you can attach to the PCB. You need the key switches, you need the key caps, switch sockets, because this is hot swappable. I can take out the key switch and plug a new one in if I am tired of the sound. Oh, by the way, sound. Some people like to hear that. I don't really care. For me, keyboard needs to work and needs to be efficient, and that's what it does. You can use an OLED screen on top of your PCB. I don't do that. I should attach something on top of my PCB because I don't want to solder this little microcontroller. So it's basically held together with tape, which is causing a little bit of issues every now and then with the PCB coming off when I unplug it. So and the TTR S jack, because this is basically just an audio cable that attaches the two halves together. You can do wireless. I'm not a big fan of wireless stuff, so yeah. And they have the entire build guides. So some size that I used for you guys that will probably be different, but I used Talp keyboard for my keycaps and key switches because it's very affordable, and honestly, like I bought these bigger ones before to replace some of the keycaps on my old keyboard. I liked quality, so I went for this shop again. They often have discounts. I really like their service. It's one of the cheapest shops here in Japan. Well, of course, that side alone did not have everything because they are cheap. They're often sold out. So I also had to use Yushakobo, which is another keyboards, like mechanical keyboard site. The normal mechanical keyboard stuff often works for these as well. With the keyboard parts, you can buy sometimes. You can sometimes buy the PCBs because oftentimes they're just sold out. Like these have not been in stock ever since I tried looking for them. So this will be a kit, but this would only be for one side, so for one half. A split keyboard exists out of two halves. So the total price, if you were to buy it through this website, is 8,000 yen, which is around $50, which is a lot. So for the PCBs, I went for JLC PCB. Cheap service, just make certain that you change the shipping to a lower price. So by the way, I'm not sponsored, so I went for this. I will have to look. I got my notes here on how much I paid. You need to pay the PCBs in like a big quantity. Well, big quantity. You need to buy them by 5. So in total for the PCBs, I spent $35. Only 35. So I have some extra PCBs now. I could choose them, maybe not. So that was $35. I will go into more of the pricing later on, but I can already say that it was under $100 in total, I think, if I do the conversion rate correctly. But yeah, so we have the PCB and we have all the keyboard parts themselves. How do you solder? Well, you need a soldering iron and some metal to do the soldering. For that I went to Monotaro. So Monotaro is a very cheap site, so you can see the things that I've bought before. So I recently bought this solder sucker, which is extremely helpful when you do soldering. I have done a couple of soldering stuff now. Without that, if you start soldering, it is slightly pricey, but it's worth the price. I bought my cable, my soldering kits for kind of a cheap price. It's not that expensive for the amount of times that I used it already and how much money it has saved me by making stuff myself, repairing stuff myself. Buttons for my mouse. I bought one button. So the middle button I had to replace already and the left button. And I had to buy more soldering because the stuff that I had with the kits was running out. So yeah, this is something that you will also need, but it is something that you should not really take too much in account of the price of the total keyboard because it's stuff that you can use again. If you don't want to buy it because it's only for like a one-time thing, Maybe ask some friends or family if they have some soldering stuff. You never know. But these are basically the size that I use to get my parts because I live in Japan. I don't have the advantage of living in a country like in Europe where you can have these parts more easily, more cheaply. Yeah, even though we live basically next to the country where everything is made, we don't pay that kind of a neighbor price. Oh well, let's get building. And with let's get building, I mean I already built it, but I filmed it. So yeah, let's go back in time. Woo, time machine. So I have my other things over here, my very cheap switches, my buttons. Yeah, I have my hot swap things, my diodes, and these things are tiny. My fingers are basically like sausages. How can I hold this? I hope this will help, but I'm still sick, so yeah, but my kid is sleeping, so I thought maybe I should give it a try. If it does not work, I can still do it later. But if I could get the soldering done right now, I can do the rest later on another day. But I would like to have at least soldering done. What happened to this thing? Well, that one is not flat anymore. I am going to solder, so I'm sitting by the window, so I have ventilation here as well. But I'm not certain if I'm actually like going to be able to solder because my kid is asleep right now, but he has been sleeping for 2 hours for an afternoon nap, so he will probably soon wake up. So I hope this does not take too long. And yeah, my voice is still gone, my throat is still hurting, but I want to get things done. I don't like doing nothing. So yeah, let's give it a try. This one has pre-solder on it, so it's easy for later. Next one. I feel like I'm slowly getting the hang of it. It's becoming a lot more shiny, but it still does not want to focus easily now. Okay. Round one over. Second round. These don't look fun. It's not warm enough yet. Okay. I didn't think this will be such tiny work. When I looked online, it looked bigger, probably because people have like a good lens to zoom in. Why did I go for a 58 key keyboard to solder? This will take some time. I took double as long as for this board compared to this one. My first one took double as long as this one. I'm almost finished already. Okay, so I was able to get everything working and get VIA working to change my key maps without re-flashing the thing. It works, for as far as I was able to test it. I have not been able to test every single connector yet. I'm also wearing a mask because my face is looking quite terrible underneath, a lot of loose skin and such, so yeah, I want to save you that kind of view. Yeah, I'm still sick. Soldering, so far I have not experienced any problems. The only thing is I use these kind of like, I forgot how they're called, to keep the PCB in place. But even though they're like spring-loaded, they still easily come loose. So I may have to solder them anyway, which I was not really planning on doing and did not really want to do. I also noticed my soldering iron and the tip is kind of, yeah. I understand why they sell replacement tips for soldering irons, and holding it sideways was better. It went so much quicker like I would expect it to go, so yeah. Something was wrong with my soldering iron yesterday, but I still managed to do the job. My kid is trying to watch a series without the speaker on, so he will make noise in the background. Okay, so I take the switch plates, yeah, these things, and the screws. My sausage fingers are too big for this kind of tiny work. Okay, and these are finished, and now I should put in the switches. I'm basically following the instructions from the website, well, from the GitHub repo of the Lily58. So I don't need these anymore. Well, for now. Let's take these things. Oh, and there goes one. Yeah, I prefer linear, so they don't really make any sound. Oh no, some of the pins have been bent. Uh-oh. They don't really make much sound while they're linears. I made a mistake. The standoffs are too big. Did I order the wrong size? Oh no, wait, they go through. They go through the board. The holes here are quite big, so the holes go through the boards. I see. Okay. Oh, this will be even more stressful than I thought to put together. Oh no. Oh. Okay, so this side is slightly in. Over here, it appears that the screw is not perfect. Like the standoff is not perfectly aligned with the hole. Okay, now it is. And now I have to click these switches in place. Oh, ooh, this feels sketchy. This feels sketchy. Oh, Okay. Okay, now I understand why. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, that was actually something I was worried about because I did not really see how my screws, my tiny screws, will be able to go through the backboards into that spot. But yeah, it's just the holes on these PCBs is big enough for the standoffs to go completely through. Where my finger is right now. Over here. So these standoffs just go completely through the board. Okay, that's clever designed. Oh, I feel so afraid of breaking something. Oh. I should have checked if the pins are actually straight or not. My kid can get sad for the smallest thing. But also happy from the smallest thing. It's like a dog. Okay, wait. This is going to be a lot smaller than I thought. I did not think this will be so flat. Like right now it only takes up this much amount of space. Like I was actually thinking about using chock switches because it will be lower, but this looks like actually like the perfect height. Like it will be a lot smaller than my current keyboard, the K70 from Corsair, with all the keycaps kind of broken. I don't know what they did wrong with that keyboard. Like this whole process of building this keyboard has been quite relaxing. Like the soldering was a little bit, will it work, will it not work? Of course I don't know yet if everything will still will actually work, but I have confidence enough. Normally you should not close everything up. Same with building a PC. You don't close everything until you're certain that everything works. But I'm fairly confident about myself. That made a strange sound, but let's not worry too much about that. Okay, so next up I guess all that's left to do is put the keys on. That's one part on. Oh. It's kind of stressful to put them inside. It feels like you're going to break the boards. Okay, so next up, Keydance. Oh no, whoops. Okay, and this will go very quickly. So 3, 2, 1. And I'm done. So they look quite nice. Like I did not expect it to look that nice. I chose a darker gray for the bottom and purple for the main row. So how will this be to type on? I have no idea, but I'm kind of looking forward to it now. It sounds a lot different. I don't really care too much about the sounds. My kid is very interested in them. Hi. Hey, Tay? Come on. He's like very into it. Hi. Type. Why are you copying Papa? Does not appear anything on screen yet, ne? Maar dat denk je nee, ne? Let's first clean up my mess. Okay, and I think it's time to say, well, not bye, but at least bye for now to this keyboard. I'll probably give it to my kids when he's big enough. Papa. Almost. As long as he cannot say Papa, he does not get his own PC or a keyboard. Something else I did not quite take into account is also this cable. Oh! Yeah, okay, this will become an issue. Like, I should probably solder these boards. They're too loose. Or I could maybe put like some stick or something in between, like some very thin stick. I don't know, but this will cause issues. I could maybe use some tape to just keep them in temporarily. Oh! Yeah, I should probably have looked up the key combination because right now I don't have any idea where escape and my control keys are. But these keycaps feel nice. They feel kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. They feel soft, like kind of like fabric. There's almost there's a little bit of wiggle, not that much wiggle. So for cheap keycaps and key switches, that's kind of a nice thing. And the experience, how was it to get used to this keyboard? Well, because I went for blank keycaps and it was not a staggered layout anymore, the blind typing that I learned before was kind of difficult to relearn with this kind of a non-staggered layout. And yeah, I will be lying to say that on the first day I did not feel like quitting. I honestly thought oh no, I made a big mistake, why did I go for this keyboard? And I honestly wanted to give up. I was honestly, I was so tempted to just take my old keyboard and plug it back in. But with all the comments that I read from people loving their experience with a split keyboard and finding it so much more comfortable to use, I was like, I cannot quit. I don't want to plug this one in. Let's just suffer, keep sending messages by accident on Discord because I don't know where my enter key is. And let's just not program for like the first couple of days whilst I try to get used to this keyboard. A little bit of a spoiler, but after day 3 I was comfortable enough to start coding on this keyboard. All it took was one good night of rest and some actually like figuring out what will be a good layout for me on this keyboard. And I was up and running. In the beginning, to be fair, my words per minute was low. I don't really see it as like a very correct indicator of like how good you are at typing, but it's a nice average to like know like, okay, am I losing some efficiency or not? My accuracy compared to on the normal keyboard went down by a little bit, not by a very noticeable amount in the first week, and now it's back to normal. And on this keyboard I have one time reached 100 words per minute so far. It was on a 10 second or 10 word test. Doesn't matter, it's over 100. But yeah, overall, once you get used to the whole layer system and once you get used to the layout of the keys, you'll find that you will never want to type on something else. Nowadays when I have this tiny keyboard that I use to handle my computer that's attached to my TV to watch YouTube and such. But every time when I want to try blind typing on this, the staggered layout completely throws me off now, and I cannot type over 40 words per minute anymore on a staggered keyboard. So yeah, in terms of benefits of this kind of a keyboard, I feel it's a lot more comfortable to type. Normally I used to sit like this the entire time, which yeah, my posture kind of shows and my shoulders bend forward. Now I can easily type like this, and when I feel very lazy, I shove these two out and I put my keyboard on the pad and I just kind of type in a relaxing way. And you probably saw this, if you are subscribed to the channel, you probably saw the short of me programming like that. I actually do that regularly in the evening. It helps me to feel more asleep. I keep having a decent enough posture. I am kind of in love with this keyboard, and I am very happy that I made the decision to actually go for this. I was honestly getting kind of worried at day one when things just did not want to work out. If I would have had normal keys with like text on them, like A, B, C and such, I would probably have had a less difficult time. But then I would still look at my keyboard the entire time for blind typing, and that's one of the reasons why I went for blank keycaps. Plus also blank keycaps are kind of cheaper, especially with the side top keyboard. Big shout out to that shop. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. They probably don't even know that I exist, even though I gave them a nice amount of money. But without that site, I think I would not have made the decision to build my own keyboard that easily. But then the big question. How much did this cost? Well, let's go over the numbers. So the total price of the PCBs, if I only count PCBs that I used, was 2,214 Japanese yen. For the audio cable, I had one laying around, but I wanted some shorter cable because the one that I have laying around is a meter. Costed me almost ropyaku yen, with 600 Japanese yen. I keep confusing Japanese with English. Then for the hot swap capability, so I can easily put new switches in, costed me around 720 for 50, for all the ones that I used. Then we have the keycaps for the 58 keycaps. The microcontrollers, this is the price for the two together. The TRRS jack, basically the jack for the audio cable, 220. The key switches, I thought this would be more, but was actually only 1,260 Japanese yen. The diodes that I needed were probably the cheapest thing. I thought they would go for more. These were around 110. Then we have the screws and such, basically all the things that I needed, like the rubber feet and such for it, which came to about 1,264. And then the two reset switches, 22 Japanese yen, which makes the total amount of this keyboard 11,209. If the exchange rate would have been a little bit better, this would have been a little bit lower. In euros, this is 65 euros and 83 cents, and in American dollars, it's $70.49 with the current exchange rate. And the current exchange rate, it used to be 120 the exchange rate, but recently it keeps rising, and the economy here is not that great. So if you were to donate on Ko-fi, all your euros and dollars are worth a lot more money to me. So now is the time to donate if you don't want to spend too much money on supporting me. Which I personally think it's kind of reasonable, especially if you know that these kind of keyboards, like if you want to have them custom made, or they are kind of expensive. The moment that you go to split keyboards and such, it gets expensive. Custom keyboards in general are expensive. The moment that you go to mechanical custom keyboards, the price goes up. But the fact that I was able to do it for under 100 euros, kind of good. Sadly, the Japanese yen is kind of weak recently. So, by the way, there's a sofa behind me. That's basically what's always behind my desk. If I'm tired, I can sit here. So let's finish the video here. But yeah, the Japanese yen, it's weak, and it's not that troublesome for us because we live kind of cheaply. We don't have a car and such. But for this keyboard, it's cool to have been cheaper for me if the prices would have been more reasonable, especially the whole exchange rate for the PCBs. I could have had PCBs cheaper for me personally if the exchange rate was better. Luckily, the PCBs, I paid them in dollars, and all that money came from donations on itch because of my Japanese language stuff that I had there, so thank you. But in general, that's basically the price for a very entry custom mechanical, well, not custom, a very entry mechanical keyboard with hot swappable switches. Because Japan is expensive when it comes to those kind of things. I don't know why. Like, again, the neighbor of where everything is being made is so close by, but we pay almost double the price of what you would pay in Europe at times. Don't come to Japan if you want to buy electronics. It's not always cheaper, and most of the time it is. It's just more expensive. One more time, a quick thank you to my Ko-fi supporters, and also a quick I should probably also mention the people that have been donating on Itch. Because of these wonderful people, I was able to afford this keyboard and save myself from further wrist pain and a bad posture. I kind of forgot to do typing test, so I'll quickly type now. Okay, so I will use punctuation as well, so that's something a lot of people don't really do, but with this keyboard I find it very convenient. Oh. Okay, one more time. It's evening, I'm a little bit slower right now. If I don't do the punctuation, I'm a lot faster. Let's do it without punctuation this time. Okay, so 69, accuracy over 95. I'm happy. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Do you think this is expensive for a fully custom made keyboard that is ergonomic? Because we all know the moment that you put ergonomic on a product, the price is 3 times as much. So yeah, let me know. Do you want to have this kind of a keyboard? Do you have questions about having this kind of a keyboard and you want more information before buying it? Please feel free to ask in the comments below. Say your opinions about this video in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, if you found this helpful. And yeah, I just hope that some people that are on the fence of getting a split keyboard were able to get the advice needed for making the final decision. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Happy typing.